Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Justin here for Cracking Cryptocurrency. Very happy to be able to sit down here with Erez. He is from Blox. He is the business manager for Blox, if I have that correct.
Yeah, Director of Business Development and the head of the US office.
Great, man. So we're going to chat a little bit about Blox and what they're trying to do and the state of cryptocurrency right now. And thank you guys so much for tuning in. Make sure to comment down below if you have any questions you'd like us to follow up with Mr. Erez. So, Erez, thank you so much for taking the time.
Thank you, Justin.
Highly appreciate it, man.
Your time.
So, I'm really enjoying San Francisco Blockchain Week. We'll be speaking at Epicenter on November 1st, Friday on the industry stage, correct?
Yeah.
And what are you going to be talking about at Epicenter?
Mainly regulatory, taxes, and accounting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's the main focuses that Blox is after at the moment.
Sure, yeah, and talk a little bit about that. So what is Blox for people watching that might not know, and what are you guys trying to do, and kind of how did you get involved with the company and cryptocurrency in general?
Yeah, definitely. So Blox has been around for over 3 years now. I joined the company about 1.5 years ago. If I want to make it very, very easy, we're aggregating all the wallets, exchanges, custodian solutions, Coinbase of the world, everything into one platform, and helping finance folks of crypto companies to aggregate all the data and have all the transactional history in one place, and basically getting ready for tax season when it comes. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So this was so Blox is more like an enterprise solution for cryptocurrency exchanges and companies that are handling basically. Having custody of other individuals' cryptocurrencies, their private keys, better manage and understand all their inputs and outputs. And I'm sure anybody watching, as well as I, am well aware of, especially if you do any trading or you do a large transfer or a large quantity of cryptocurrency transfers, that can get pretty overwhelming pretty quickly toward the end of the year, especially with us not really having clear guidance on taxation. So
definitely, yeah.
It's aimed at an enterprise solution for the companies.
Exactly. We're not exactly aiming for the average Joe who's trading $5,000 on Binance or Coinbase, whatever it is. We're aiming more towards those companies who's got multiple wallets, multiple exchanges, and again, thousands of transactions or tens of thousands of transactions a month, and they need a tool to help them because it's not a human can't handle it, basically.
Yeah, yeah. So what is that? Kind of how was that inspired? You saw like a large demand for that. You saw a large need for that in the space, obviously, because we can assume that it's very complicated. I mean, my personal accounting for my crypto taxes is complicated. I can only imagine what it's like on that enterprise scale.
Yeah, so we started actually as a B2C solution, Delta and Blockfolio of the world, just helping the end user to aggregate all these wallets and exchanges into one place. So the infrastructure is the same, but when 2018 hit, it was both crypto winter and we had to do an audit for our company. All of a sudden, lights kind of started to bright in the company. The CEO, the COO started to use Blox for an audit reconciliation process. And because of that, basically, we kind of thought about it. And that's where I joined the company to kind of test the water and see if there's a demand. We started right away, and we basically pivoted very, very fast from a B2C solution to a B2B solution.
So help me understand kind of how it works as well, because, in my head, if we have centralized entities, we have centralized exchanges and things of this nature, well, they already have this information of their transactions. And it's incumbent upon them to either stick that in a spreadsheet, or it's incumbent on them to stick that in a text file somewhere. I'm not sure the most efficient way to do it. Maybe to use some, TurboTax program, something like that. So what is it particularly that Blox helps them do? You talked about kind of it aggregating data, pulling all this data from multiple places and putting it in one place. Is that, what does that look like? How does it look like for me as the end user if I was a user of it?
Yeah, so you'll be surprised. Most of the companies in the space don't have a solution. So Excel sheet is the king at the moment.
Right.
And we're here to change it. Excel sheet has so many options for human error, for not just mistakes, but from security point of view, everybody can click on a button and send the Excel sheet to whoever wants, and all the data of the company will be out there. We're looking at a more secure environment where we have a collaborator tool that we can invite a few people into the platform and make sure that everything is protected over there. There's no trading. It's a read-only platform. And the idea is basically, again, having everything very, very organized and very settled. So once we were getting into the tax season, there's a big, how will I explain it? There's a big thing that when you're talking to your accountant, basically, there's a lot of back and forth with the Excel sheets. So this is wrong, or there's missing data over here, missing data over here. We're here again to prevent it and basically aggregate all the data together.
So instead of relying on an employee with the company, setting a large transaction out there, balancing from hot wallet to cold wallet or something of that nature, right? And logging that transaction down. And for me personally, like what I have to do is I've actually made a pretty complicated spreadsheet for sending crypto around for tax purposes. So what was the cryptocurrency? What was its value when I purchased it? What was its value when I sent it? How long did it take to get there? What transaction fee did I pay? I need to have all of that information for my account. So this is, it's something like almost like an API, and it's hooked into the exchange and pulls that data over. And instead of it having to be manually entered, this is just an automatic solution. So at the end, does a very convenient CSV or PDF get generated for the end user client? Is that what it looks like?
Yeah. So one of the things is that I forgot to mention is that we're running full nodes on our end. So about the 15 biggest blockchains out there, we're fetching the data from the blockchain. It doesn't matter if it was back in 2008. We'll fetch the data direct from the blockchain. With the exchanges, we are connected with APIs. And yes, eventually, after you organize all the data, you basically hit the export CSV file, and you get a very organized CSV file that you can upload to one of your GL system, or you can move it to the accounting that you're working with.
Okay. Now, you had talked about this not really being designed for the average Joe, as we talked about it, trading with $5,000 on Bittrex or something like that. This is more for the larger exchanges. So does this only monitor blockchain data, or is this able to monitor off-chain transactions, such as order book transactions that might occur with any market-making engine on an exchange, for example?
So we are fetching the data from the exchanges. We only fetch the data after the transaction actually happened. So order books, we're not fetching only after the order actually happened.
Right.
Yeah, I forgot the second part of the question.
Yeah, no, the question there was, are you able to only pull data that is on-chain, or can you pull off-chain data
Yeah,
from
we
these
can
clients?
pull off-chain data as well.
Right, as long as they link you up to whatever output they're trying to send out.
Exactly.
Now, I want to go down a train of questions here that will lead to decentralization and why Blox is a cryptocurrency project and not a general fintech product. So, is there a danger here of centralizing this information in one place? And, is that something that has ever been brought up or thought about, and just kind of your guys' approach to that? Because if you're pulling a lot of data and pulling it into one central location from multiple exchanges, what is the security threat there?
Yeah, so we take security very, very seriously. This is one of the main things that we're looking at. Again, just because we're working with finance folks that are already very kind of trying to get very, very secured and making sure that the data won't go out. We have a few protocols within the company that we're making sure that the data doesn't come out. Everything from segregating username and the actual portfolio. So even if you get in and you can see the name of the company, you won't be able to connect it with the actual funds. It's a read-only platform, so nobody can actually hack into one of the wallets and exchanges. One of the things that we're proud of is even if you by mistake put a permission to trade, we'll give you a big pop-up that say, hey, please change the API key because we don't want the liability, basically.
Right.
Sorry. Yeah, so basically we're very, very focused on security. One of the things that we're working to get in the very near future is a SOC 1 Type 2 certification from one of the biggest accounting firms out there. Again, just to be as compliant and as secure as possible. We fully understand that this is a very, very sensitive data, and we want to make sure that we're keeping it very, very safe.
So what is a Blox built off of? Have you guys built your own blockchain? Are you a layer 2 solution? Are you a protocol? Can you explain that to me from a technical perspective?
So Blox is a ERC20 token. We had a successful token launch back in 2017. The main utility of the token is staking. So as a company, if you want to become a Blox client, You can pay just with fiat, or you can do staking. And the way that we do staking is basically because we're already connected to your wallet, we can monitor that and make sure that you actually stake. And by doing that, you're getting a very significant discount of up to 75% using our platform.
Okay.
Moreover, we're planning to get more capabilities for staking, things like using our API and things in the future. But at the moment, the main utility is staking to get a large discount.
Sure. So clients of Blox will receive a discount on services, the accounting services, for staking the Blox token.
Yeah. Then this is also comes very relevant for small traders. Again, not talking about the $5,000 Joes,
Sure.
but you can get down to $25 a month, basically, if you do the staking in our lower plan. And that makes a lot of sense for traders because they're already trading. CDT has performed, obviously, not as good as BTC for the last year, but it is performing not bad. And again, as more clients are getting in, as more clients doing staking, this only takes the value of the token up.
Yeah, I was going to kind of comment. So the token economics of CDT is that as more clients become interested in doing business with Blox and seeking obviously a discount, because last time I checked, humans like to save money.
Always.
So your incentive, again, the token economics are mainly the incentive to receive discounts for utilizing Blox from staking the token.
Yeah, one of the things that we see that is very interesting is that people are not quite sure at the beginning. They want to kind of taste the water, so they starting with fiat and after a quarter, they basically come to us. Okay, we decided we want to use you guys for a year or two. Let's do the staking because it makes a lot of sense.
Sure. Now, it wouldn't be absolutely necessary to be interacting with the Ethereum chain to utilize Blox's services as an enterprise or as a trader, correct?
Correct.
Right. I could just contact your company and ask for your accounting services and do the fiat, essentially like first payment for your services, give you guys my API keys. Now, how does that look? How does that look as a first-time client, kind of getting set up with you guys?
Very easy. It's basically a self-serve platform. I think that 90% of our clients are just getting into the platform, syncing their wallets, their exchanges, and starting working with the platform. Mm-hmm. So it's very easy. And obviously, we're here to help if there's any need.
Sure. So let's say myself as a trader, I could come to Blox right now, and I would sign up. I would pay you guys. And I would just connect read-only API, key and secret into your web platform, or is it an app I would download?
Both. We have web and iOS and Android solutions.
Okay, great. And so I just plug my data in, and very, very easily, all that data would start being compiled. Now, and then I can have that at the end of the year for taxation purposes.
Yeah, and we also have a free tier, so you can start and start playing with it.
Okay.
Please get into the Blox,
Sure.
Blox.io website, sign up, try the platform, try to take it to the edge. We're happy to serve you guys.
Cool. Now, as a trader that would be signing up for it, you wouldn't be able to pull. Basically, you can't collate or pull any data that doesn't have an API connection. Is how
True.
it works, right?
True.
So if so any internal accounting that I might do off-chain or non-exchange-wise, Blox wouldn't be able to help with that.
So not necessarily. First of all, we have a way to do manual transactions, so you can manually transact within the platform.
Just a text entry or something?
Yeah. No, just if there was a trade that wasn't with an exchange that we're not supporting, for example, you can just enter it manually very easily.
Sure.
We can also upload CSV files on the back end, and we're working on CSV solutions for the front end as well.
Great.
Yeah.
So I think that's a pretty important use case. Trading cryptocurrency is already difficult for a lot of individuals, and keeping track of all of it can be worse. Even if one is not a trader, even if one is just a hodler or an investor or just getting involved in the space, often we get to the end of the year and we don't know what to do. So, any words of encouragement for people doing their crypto taxes out there this January?
Definitely. Cost basis is one of the biggest problems in the industry, I think. We just released a really big feature that, and one of the most important things that it's important to remember is that cost basis is very easy to calculate. as long as you have all the historical data in place. So one of the things that we did when we built the cost basis is before we calculating the cost basis, we're actually reconciling each and every one of the tokens on its own and making sure that the deviation is less than 3%. If the deviation between the balance and the transaction is less than 3%, only then we'll calculate the cost basis, and only then we'll be certain that it's actually accurate. Once the deviation is higher than that, we know that basically we can count on that data, so we won't even calculate the cost basis. It's so hard to follow it manually. It's impossible.
Sure.
If you think about it, you bought 10 BTC, or let's make it easier. You bought 1 BTC on January and February. You swapped it to ETH. You swapped it to Litecoin, and so on and so forth. Tracking the basis for each and every one of them, it's impossible. So that's, I think, that one of the main reasons that we built this tool to help companies to solve this issue.
So that you are right. I think that is one of the biggest issues is cost basis. So you're saying that Blox does basically automatically track that for me? We were talking about manual entries earlier. So let's say that I didn't even put in an API integration with my Blox account. If I just used it to put in manual transactions, it would be able to, based on the date, pull up cost basis for me on my transaction.
Of course.
Now, that's going to be based on the altcoin. Let's say we're talking about an altcoin here, for example. So anything, for example. It's going to be looking at its USD value, correct?
Yes.
So how, where do you guys just pull historical exchange data? Do you pull from one exchange, multiple exchanges? How do you guys calculate that data on your end?
So you're talking about the pricing data, right? So currently we're fetching all the pricing data from CoinMarketCap.
Okay.
The new regulation of the latest tax, you probably heard the IRS new announcement. Basically, they mentioned that going forward, you're going to have the pricing data from the same source of the transaction. So for instance, if you had a transaction on Binance, you're going to have to fetch the data from Binance. We're working on the back end, probably going to be released within the next month or two, of having this capability as well, having multiple sources of pricing.
Sure. So how would that work on, let's take Binance, for example, right? So if the new regulation is that you have to have the cost basis derived from the exchange where the transaction was conducted, if I am trading Ethereum to BTC on Binance and I need to know the dollar basis of essentially Ethereum at that point in time, and Bitcoin, of course, for that point in time, but Binance doesn't have a BTC to USD market. It doesn't have a fiat market. Obviously, unless you're trading on Binance US, but Binance.org, there's no US market. So how does the IRS expect us to do this triangular arbitrage? Like, okay, to figure out what ETH BTC is, I need to look at what BTC USD is, obviously on a different market. Is it okay for us to look at BTC USDT? And if there's a 0.5% difference between what Bitcoin to Tether is trading and BTC USD is trading, does that matter? Like, do you have any comment on what's the right way to do this? That's why I ask you, because how are you guys solving that? What are your guys' thoughts for solving that?
So yeah, that's a great question. In regards of that, the IRS kind of missed explaining it all the way through. The way that we interpreted it is we're going to start and try to do the best. So if it was on Binance, if Binance has the US dollar, we'll take it from there. If not, we're going to take it from the second source. So basically kind of a foldback into Coinbase pricing data or CoinMarketCap pricing data. And hopefully, it took the IRS 5 years to get the latest announcement. Hopefully, the next announcement will be a lot faster because they launched the announcement, but there's a lot of gaps and a lot of things that are not clear for a lot of accounting firms as well, not just for us as a accounting solution.
How do you guys handle what I thought was the most interesting regulation coming out of the IRS's latest announcement was them formally addressing things like hard forks and airdrops. How does Blox deal with those kind of things?
Yeah, so forks and airdrops were always a kind of a programmatic place with the accounting space. We were tracking them from day one. So we have a place called dust tokens and airdrops that we can actually see when we're receiving them. If they're significant, they're going to go to your balance sheet. If they're not significant, they're going to stay kind of in the lower section. I don't have an answer how we're going to implement the full solution into our platform yet. We're still kind of trying to figure it out because, again, the whole industry is trying to figure it out. The guidance from the IRS are not 100% clear, and we don't want to run and develop something that we're not sure that it's actually going to be compliant. So to be continued as we speak on that matter.
Yeah. Well, it's good to see that you guys are trying to deal with the solution because, the only thing that concerns me is, and I think the common concern for a lot of people is what's going to happen in, what's the right word I'm looking for here? What is going to be retroactive, right? So, for example, when cryptocurrency were at their peaks in 2017, there were a lot of airdrops. There were a lot of, not a lot of hard forks, but there was one huge significant hard fork in October, and there was a lot of airdrops. More importantly, and if the idea from the IRS, as I understand it, is that it is the cost basis at the moment that the funds became available to the end user, and now they're also sending out these letters saying, "Hey guys, we're going to come back on you. Any crypto taxes that you guys didn't pay from that big bull run back in 2017, you're going to need to pay those up."
Yeah.
And I think that worries a lot of people, especially a lot of retail traders or larger traders that they, now they're holding on to a coin that has dropped 90% in value potentially, but they owe the cost basis on it from when it was initially originated. Even though they can take the offset, it doesn't make the numbers add up. Due to the 90% devaluation. So being able to offset a maximum of $5,000 on your taxes in a year does not make up for a large capital loss of 90%.
100%. Even more kind of funny situation, people who at the peak changed BTC to whatever altcoin it is, and then it dropped to 90%. Basically, they're still owing the liability from the BTC at the peak and not from the altcoin. So it's again, there's a lot of gray areas that trying to being solved. From my conversations with a lot of different accounting folks and a lot of CPAs, is that they basically trying or taking one method and being very, very consistent along the way. And obviously, whenever IRS will give us more information, we can go back in time and fix it. One of the new things is in 2019, in the next 1014 form, every U.S. citizen will have to declare if he's got cryptocurrencies or not. And that's also something that is huge because, as you and I know, there's a lot of people who think, hey, I got, in a wallet since 2013.
Right.
Nobody knows about it. But now in 2019, the next tax season, they will have to declare it. So that's a big issue as well.
That's a big issue.
Yeah.
That's gonna make a lot of libertarians watching the channel right now probably throw tomatoes at the IRS building. What do you think? What do you think the response from that will be? What do you think the reaction will be?
I think that this is actually something good. If you think about it, again, a lot of people that are kind of OGs that trading will have to come up front. But if you think about it, every U.S. citizen, the first line is going to see on the 1040 file that everybody's, it's a mandatory to do that. They will see, do you have cryptocurrency? And that's just psychological.
Yeah.
That's a huge impact. That's again, in my point, it's a small step into the mass adoption that everybody's looking for.
For sure. Yeah, how many people are going to read that first line and be like, "Wow, the IRS wants to know about cryptocurrencies"?
Let's check it out.
Yeah. Calling up their Aunt Edna, being like, "Hey." That's awesome, man. Now, can you tell me when you guys did your token launch? How did that look? Did Blox do a fundraising round?
I'm not sure I can disclose that. We're well funded, so we're not looking for any money at the moment.
Cool.
Luckily, our CEO hedged on time. Currently we're heads down and focusing on building a brand and building a right solution for our clients and making sure that there's actual usage. So one of the things that we did is our pricing point that getting into the platform is very, very low. With that, we're getting a lot of clients getting into the platform, a lot of edge use cases that as you probably know, in the crypto space, we're solving them. The APIs from the different exchanges, custodian solutions, etc., are not 100%, not even close.
Right.
So that brings a lot of issues for us to handle and fix. But we want to make sure as a company that, hopefully for the next bull run, the next 2017, we're going to have a 100% platform ready for, onboarding thousands of clients.
Yeah. Got to get prepped before the next wave comes in. That's what we're doing as well. So is Blox looking to hire anybody? You guys said that you're just mostly in put your head down mode and get your platform to be the best that it can possibly be. Who are you guys looking for to make your team better? Who are you guys looking for to help you guys out? And how can people help you out?
Yeah, so we have a team in Israel. That's where our engineering team is based out of, in the headquarters, basically. We're always looking for good engineers. So there's over 20 engineers at the moment, and we're looking to grow it up as much as possible. We have a small operation in China and the office here in the United States that is getting bigger and bigger. Currently, it's only 5 people, but we're looking to expand that with BD, customer success, basically every client-facing roles. So if you have any recommendations, please let us know.
Sure.
We're always looking for good people.
What's on the horizon for Blox? What are you guys kind of focusing on right now, or what do you see in the future that you guys will kind of have to overcome or deal with? And also, maybe for cryptocurrency in general, what are we facing on the horizon?
Great question. I wish I knew.
Yeah.
Hopefully, again, more adoption, more players getting into the game. We see a lot of institutions, family offices, funds, hedge funds are getting into the crypto space. Last year, we saw them between kind of 3 to 5% of their portfolio getting in. They started with like 1 to 3% getting in. This year, we see them from 3 to 5%, and these are large numbers that we see getting into the game. Again, hopefully the market will keep on going up, but I see a bright future. I mean, I'm here in the heart of Silicon Valley, in San Francisco. There's so much activity, so much good companies, and especially since 2019 hit, you see all the projects that had a token launch back in 2017 starting to launch, their protocols, their activities, their products, and you can actually see the infrastructure being built. And again, Blox is a small piece in the infrastructure, but a lot of other companies are building great stuff. So I'm very optimistic about the future.
Good. That's good to hear the positive aspect toward other projects and everybody working in the space as well. It's a real positive thing.
Yeah.
What do you think? What's the most exciting development you think right now in cryptocurrency, or what kind of pulls your eye when you see your news feed every day?
I think that I'm very curious to know what will end up with Libra. Not because I'm a big fan of Facebook.
Sure.
I think that, having the fact, exactly like the 1040 form that we talked about before, the fact that 2 billion people can get into crypto space, or at least a little bit into the crypto space. It's
Sure.
not really crypto, but in one shot, that Zuckerberg will turn on the light,
Turn on the Libra switch,
and that's it, and everybody will be part of it. I think that's again, I'm not sure if Facebook is the right company to lead that this whole process, but it will definitely help. And you saw that, like when Facebook announced it, there was a huge spike, because people know that if Facebook, if Telegram, if a lot of big companies that got billions of users will get into the game, they will make everything a lot easier for the average Joe to get in and start hodl or trade or start using blockchain technology to cryptocurrencies.
Mm-hmm. What about institutional grade clients? You talked about hedge funds and firms kind of getting involved, and their clients with Blox, they're utilizing something like Blox?
We're starting to get into that vertical as well.
Cool.
The main vertical we currently support, and again, we started selling the product early 2019. So the immediate kind of suspect for us were post-ICO companies, because they were the only companies who actually traded and converted crypto back in the time. But basically Blox has across the board. So miners, ATMs, funds, fund administrators, you name it, Blox can help that company.
What would be your main competition, or maybe individuals who inspire what you're trying to do, or any projects that inspire what you're doing, or that projects that you feel are inspired by you?
So we have a few competitors. I think that calling competitors in this stage that we are at the moment is not the right thing to do, because we all have the kind of the same aim. We're all pushing into the same direction. So if we or one of our competitors is getting a client that's already a crypto company that left the Excel sheet and moved into to a automatic solution.
Sure.
Eventually, like every startup scene, there's going to be one or two that's going to win the game. And at the moment, there's I don't know, a handful of real solutions and maybe 10 or 20, starting company that's just starting to get into the game. The barrier to get in because of the APIs with the exchanges and the custodian solutions and the Coinbase of the world is very heavily. It's hard to get in. You need a lot of developers to maintain those, and to actually, if you want to actually fetch the data the right way, you need a lot of manpower. So again, we see ourselves as leaders at the moment. We're not, closing our eyes and ears. We're focusing on growing as much as possible.
Great. How do you feel about the current state of cryptocurrency and the markets and just the sentiment, especially here in Silicon Valley, and speaking to the people that you speak with, obviously we're focused here on a lot of technology and the development and the underlying scene. And there can kind of be a juxtaposition or maybe a barrier, I guess, between understanding how the retail end user of cryptocurrency works and understanding or the thoughts and sentiments of individuals that are working and building the tech. So, I guess what's the perspective from here in Silicon Valley? What's the perspective on cryptocurrency?
Yeah. So again, I'm not sure if I'm too deep into the bubble or it's just too clear. For me, again, walking around and seeing all the activity, all the companies, all the funds that are pouring money into this industry, it's a no-brainer. My history coming from the mobile apps world, and I remember back in 2012, 2011, where people said that apps is nothing that will be like, it's not going to be common. It's not, people not going to use apps. And for me, for somebody who's been there, it was so obvious that apps are going to be, like every part of every person's life, like it is today, obviously.
Like it is today.
So again, I'm seeing exactly the same future for cryptocurrencies. Right. The kids that are now being burned or in school, I think they're going to be the main kind of audience that's going to use cryptocurrencies, because they won't care if they're using Chase or using Bitcoin.com. It's going to be the same. It's going to be an app on the phone. They don't care what's going to be in the back end. And that's going to be their banking solution or the way they're going to hold their assets.
What was it that gave you the crypto bug? What got you involved in cryptocurrency in the first place?
Yeah, great question. So back in 2015, I've been talking a lot with a friend of mine that today is the owner of CoinMama. I'm not sure if you're familiar with the platform. And he's originally from Israel. He's been kind of talking to me and explaining to me about the whole industry night after night after night after night. He brought some ATMs into Israel. He started the website and so on and so forth. But it didn't really hit me up. I obviously didn't invest, unfortunately. But then when the 2017 boom started, or at least at early 2017, it was too hard to kind of
stay away.
Yeah, stay away. And just once you get into the rabbit hole, you just can't go anywhere else.
Yeah, sure. What are your guys' plans for the future as far as the token? Do you have any plans to leave Ethereum or move from being an ERC20 token and perhaps having your own chain, or just a different solution or option? Or is that really the technology that you're looking at, or just kind of where you guys at with that and plans for the future for the token for the holders?
Yeah, I think that we have no plan to kind of build our own blockchain. I don't see the use case for that for our solution. What I do see is giving more options for the staking options. So as a user, if you'll stake, we're going to give you some more abilities to use the Blox platform. So we talked about the API, and again, we're thinking about more and more ways to make it a lot more efficient for users to go stake CDT, believe in the token in one hand, on the other hand, believe in the company, and getting actually value for using the token as a staking model.
Something like, a lot of things that people are looking at is obviously something like crypto dividends, like through a smart contract. So, those are just options that come to me, like a dividend paid out to token stakeholders, for example. You know what I mean? For those who choose not to want a discount on the platform, essentially for investors.
Might be a good idea.
Possibility. So what? I guess what's the big difference between using Blox and something like cointracking.info, for example, which is something I'm familiar with.
Yeah. Let's put the names aside. I don't want to talk specifically on one competitor.
Sure.
CoinTracker is a great solution, and I think they're doing a great job. What I can tell you about Blox, and this is one of the things that we're focusing on, is a large trading volumes. So where other solutions out there are focusing on the end user who's got 10,000 transactions, 20,000 transactions, Blox is supporting 20 million, 30 million transactions. So when you're talking about the big exchanges, the big companies who's doing a lot of trades, other solutions won't get all that information and can actually work the way that Blox works and as fast as we're working. Moreover is that we're running full nodes on our end. And I think that's also a big differentiator from our competitors is we're fetching all the data from the wallets. So all the off-chain and on-chain transactions, we can actually combine them together and make sure that we're closing the circle to have all the data out there. Eventually, with all the accounting features in the world, if the data won't be right, we won't get the right results. So that's what we're focusing on. And for the first 2.5 years, we were really focusing on the data and making sure we're getting the data right. And now we're launching more and more features for accounting, bookkeeping, and making sure that companies could get ready for the tax season.
Cool, man. Any final thoughts or anything that's really on your mind right now that you'd like to share with the audience?
No, just thank you so much for having me here.
Yeah.
Love your show, and would love if your audience can join Blox, give it a try. Go to Blox.io; it's free to try. And again, I think that solutions like Blox is mandatory in order to move kind of to the next stage into the crypto space. So we're here to help. And again, if any feedback or any thoughts, we're more than happy to learn more how we can improve and make our product better.
Where can people find out more about Blox and get involved with Blox?
Yeah, so Blox, Blox.io, it's our website. All the information is out there. If you have any questions, more than happy you can hit my email. It's erez@blox.io. And yeah, if we can put maybe like a link on the video or something like that would be awesome. Again, please try the platform, sync a few wallets, sync a few exchanges. There's nothing like seeing your own data in the platform, I can tell you that. And once you see all the data, it will be a no-brainer why Blox is being created.
Great, man. Erez, thank you guys so much for taking the time. I highly appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you for having me here.
Yeah, no problem. Guys, down in the comments section down below will be all the links to the things that Erez mentioned here, as well as information on how to get involved with Blox as well. So thank you guys so much for taking the time. Make sure to like and subscribe to the channel. Let me know your thoughts down in the section below, and I'm looking forward to bringing you more content like this. Thank you so much.